better than myself. So yes, everyone, I'm Nick. I work for the last 4 years for LinkedIn, especially for LinkedIn Learning. And as Panos said, my role is to help organizations transform through lifelong learning and through our platform, LinkedIn Learning. So today, I'm happy to present to you a very interesting topic. As you know, we actually offer LinkedIn Learning to customers, individual customers, corporations, higher education institutions, and governments. So now, today, I'm going to present to you how we can optimize our customers' learning strategies and how we can help them measure their success. So let's go and see the agenda of today. Next slide, please, Panos. So in order for us to understand how LinkedIn can provide this kind of insights and be a strategic advisor and help companies optimize their learning strategies, we need to go and see a little bit our economic graph, how LinkedIn can actually produce insights. Then we will go very, very fast and we will see what kind of functionalities and we have built in our admin dashboard of LinkedIn Learning, so we can help our customers measure how successful they are when they implement and deploy learning into their organization. And then we will see how we help them with external insights to understand better their own workforce, the future trends of skills, how to approach the workforce, the audience, as we call it, with which kind of content, and so on. So let's start with LinkedIn's economic graph. Next slide, please, Panos. So this is what we stand for. LinkedIn is the digital representation of the global economy. We have mapped the global economy. And right now, we have 722 million professional members, 55 million companies, 24 million job slots offered by those companies for those members, 36,000 standardized skills that follow every member, company, and job slots, and 150,000 higher education institutions. Our long-term vision is to have at some point all of the professional companies and so on, but for now, we have reached that level. And what I want to say from this economic graph is that all these elements you see in front of you every day interrelate with each other, and they produce an immense amount of intelligence and insight that can help us then, as LinkedIn, to be able to provide services and add value to our customers. Next slide, please. So some of you may know LinkedIn is a Microsoft company, and what I would like to share with you is that Microsoft LinkedIn and its newest kit, LinkedIn Learning, has solutions for all the talent journey, from planning to helping companies hire, to helping companies develop their talent and engage with their talent. So I come in the last two circles on the right, develop and engage, and we are able to actually help those companies develop and engage with our LinkedIn data. So next slide. The data we have from the economic graph can help us, first of all, identify what skills are in scarcity. So what is the market demand for skills and courses, and that knowledge of this demand is directly connected with our content creation team, which creates the content. So we create and we add content according to intelligence. Another way intelligence can help us is to be able to offer a personalized experience to every learner with our AI system in a way that we can actually approach the learner with customized information to his professional data, his co-workers, his company, and so on. And last, which is a bridge to what I'm going to discuss to you about, we can produce from this economic graph a lot of skill insights that we can help those companies optimize their learning strategies and reach out their audiences inside the organization. So let's start with the first topic, how we can help our current customers to actually measure success. What are the metrics we look after and how we understand if a customer is successful or not? Next slide, please. So inside our platform, we have embedded dashboard with some reporting tabs, as you can see on the right picture. And I'm going to start with the dashboard. In the dashboard tab, we have what we call at-glance analytics. We want to be able to spot drops or increases in engagement right away. And not only that, we can break that reporting down to specific departments and sub-departments in an organization. So we can, the only thing an administrator does when he goes into this dashboard, they choose the time frame they want to examine, and they pick up if they want to see for all the company or specific groups, and they come with the metrics important to understand how they are doing. For example, how many hours have been viewed in total? How many people have logged in to LinkedIn Learning, which means they have activated their license, but they have not yet used their platform. 124 people, we can see in this example, are actually viewing content. And we can see also an average time per viewer from all those 124 people. So what we can see here is basic metrics that a company can understand, especially when compared with in-class training, how much they spend and how much they have reached in terms of hours and average time per viewer. And when we are going through specific quarterly reviews with our customers, we can very easily identify, for example, which department is lacking behind, and therefore we can share some best practices and drive some campaigns, prescribe actions to actually improve engagement and adoption of the platform. Next slide, please. The most important two metrics we see when we first start with a customer is what we call adoption and engagement metrics. And what I want to say here is adoption metric is from the total number of purchased seats in a specific contract, how many people have actually activated their license and logged into the platform. And engagement is how many of those people who logged in are actually using the platform. One of the first goals with our customers, the first months of deployment of the platform, is to actually improve those two metrics and keep them as high as possible. For example, if in the first 3 months of deployment, we can have an 80% adoption and a 70 to 80% engagement, that is above any benchmarks that we have around the market. So it's a successful metric. Last, we have other data like what courses, how many courses are viewed, how many courses are completed. Here you may see a huge difference, and this is excusable between completed courses and viewed. We care about both metrics because sometimes employees need to go into a course and not complete the whole course. They want to solve a problem. So they might look in different micro videos inside the course, take the answer, and that's it. So it is also important in how many courses they have started, viewed, but not completed. The same goes for videos viewed and videos completed. And we also have the possibility for customers to add their own custom content. And therefore, we can see also analytics and metrics of how employees are engaging with company's own content, for example, an onboarding, learning path, or any other thing that the company might share. Next slide, please. So here we see another part of the dashboard, which has detailed reports. Here is when we want to see all the little details up to the exact percentage of consumption for every employee to every content that we have in the company. And here we have we have configured all the reports. The administrator again just chooses the time frame and the group they want to examine, and they generate the report and download it. So what kind of metrics, important metrics we see here? One, how many sessions someone uses in order to complete a specific course. This can tell us a lot about time management, how much time they have, how learners want to engage, or what kind of priorities they have before completing a course. So if you see a lot of sessions to complete a course, it means that this person had very limited time and starts building up the consumption of one course. Then we can see also other data that I showed you before, like hours viewed, courses viewed, videos viewed, and custom content viewed. And then we can see also data that has to do where are my learners are uh, consuming content. Are they doing this on desktop or mobile devices? And how many hours do I have of consumption in mobile versus desktop? This is important because it can help us understand that when employees are actually using a mobile platform, a mobile application, it means they want to learn as they are commuting to work, when they are on the train or the bus going somewhere, or in their car, and they want to use the app. So this, when we understand this about our audience, we can tailor the strategies for approaching and reaching that audience in a better way. And of course, as I said, we do have percentage of completion for every content an employee touches and how many assessments they complete, because some of our courses also have assessments. So the detailed report section can actually help the administrators understand in depth every little detail of the engagement of their employees. Next slide. Here we start going to the very interesting part. Now we have embedded another tab here, which is called Skill Insights. And Skill Insights helps companies, one, identify what they have added collectively in skills as a company X time after they have started using the LinkedIn Learning platform. For example, after 3 months a company uses LinkedIn Learning, we can go in this report and see what exactly skills we have built. Personal development, Java, professional development, communication, and we can actually go to those skills and see what kind of courses those skills are made of. So what kind of courses are people consume. This is a very good metric to show what is the qualitative return on investment in when a company invests in a platform like this. The second part is the most important part, is insights that we start now going to a more strategic level and start helping companies understand what is the collective skill set they have right now in the organization, how many people are in every skill set, how many growth in terms of new hires they had versus last year, and how they compare with competition in specific skill sets. Now, what you see on the screen is actual LinkedIn data. And for example, if I go, you can see 10 different pages of different skills that you can go for. And if we go just to the third one, which is Java, just to give you an example, we can see that 4,267 people have this kind of skill. We have hired with 1% growth versus last year. We have actually hired 514 people with that skill. And our workforce has 23% of that skill. Sorry, 23% of our workforce has Java versus competition, which is 11%. And if we hover the mouse over the peers, we can actually see the list of peer companies the AI system of LinkedIn Learning decides to compare the data and show us how we benchmark with competition. And one of the future functionalities that we build here is for an organization to be able to choose their own peer companies and not allow the AI system to pick for them automatically. Now, all the things I presented to you up to now have to do with what metrics we help companies understand if they are actually successful on what they're doing right now. Let's go to the next topic now. If you can change the slide, Panos, where we're going to see what kind of insight reports that come from the economic graph I explained to you in the beginning of my presentation, that we can actually help and become a strategic advisor with a client who can help a client optimize their learning campaigns. Number one, the skill flow report. This is a very important report that shows us what kind of skills have entered the organization and left in a 12-month period. And we can see here, for example, that if we have more departures than arrivals of talent in a specific skill set, that means that flags an alert for either hiring more people in that skill or training for that people in that skill. So if you see, for example, the second skill is enterprise software. This is real. It's a real company's data. I just hide the name of the company, but this is real data. So enterprise software in the last 12 months, 226 people left and 94 were hired. So they lost 132 people of that skill, and they are losing 2.4 times faster that skill than what they're gaining. So this is something very important that we can actually focus on specific areas that are alerting us. Number two is on another report which can show us skill groups versus departments and how we compare with competition in every box. So wherever you see red, it means that our skill set in that specific skill set, in that specific department, is below our peer companies. As you can see here, for example, the first skill group is advertising and marketing. So the engineering function of that company is very high on this than the competition, 11%, but the business development is very low on that skill set, minus 12%. Therefore, with that kind of insight, we can actually help them tailor down exactly in what skill set and what group they need to improve in order to surpass competition. Third, leadership demands. We have insights that we can tell them, the companies that we actually consult, how many new management positions have been offered with either non-prior management experience or prior management experience. And for those that had non-prior management experience, how many were moved internally inside the org or were new hires completely. Now, a report like this can help an organization shift their focus on onboarding a new manager or internal training of new management and leadership training. So this is also a very important report. Number four is talent flow departments. This is it follows the same fashion as the skill flow I showed in the beginning, but it has to do, instead of skills, it has to do with departments. So we can see per department how much talent we're losing, and that can alert us to either train for that talent or hire for that talent. Now we're going to the most interesting, next slide please, Panos, sorry. The next one is the future skill trends. Here we have a tool where we can help our customers, our companies, to understand how to react and understand the future trends and the future evolution of skills. So we can pick a specific industry or function, we can pick a region, and we can pick a specific job title. And the tool will produce us with the 15 most, the most in demand skills, the fastest growing skills for that specific profession, the most unique skills, and the top skills in that industry, region, and profession. And as you can see in the example, I picked up the software and IT industry, the EMEA region, and the role of the Chief Technology Officer. Now, what we do when we take those data is we look at the blue part, which is the most in-demand skills, and we try to create a strategy for learning to close the skills now. And then we look at the green part, the fastest growing skills, and we start planning for training to proactively not allow gaps to appear in the future. So we help companies with this way, not only identify what could be the gaps of today, but also proactively train for covering the gaps of tomorrow. And this is the most important, I believe, insight that we can share with the customers, and we can actually help them navigate through that ecosystem of skills and job titles and be able to understand what is needed per job title, function, and region. Also, attrition plays a big role in learning. We know from our research and our discussions with our customers that people leave an organization not because of salary anymore, they leave because of lack of development opportunities. So we always analyze attrition, and we try to understand how we can tackle attrition, how we can, and where exactly to tackle attrition. So now we can see that this specific example of a company has 6% attrition versus 5 of their immediate peers and 4 of general other companies in the region. They have a biggest tenure, 32 months so that's good. So people are staying more, but as an overall percentage, they're leaving faster. And below, we can see also how this breaks down in employees of less than a year, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, and 5 plus. So for example, if we spotted here that the big attrition happens in the first year, maybe we should focus ourselves in employee experience from first day, properly onboarding people, wellness, and so on. If we see that the problem is above 3 to 5 years and 5 years plus, which this is the case in the blue example, then we reach out a different strategy for people that are longer in the organization. And now we're going to the 2 last insights I want to share with you, the Audience Explorer and the Course Explorer. Now, the Audience Explorer, it's another tool that helps us discover the learning habits of key demographics. So we choose demographic, region, and function. As you can see, the different demographics can be career starters, baby boomers, C-levels, Generation X, Generation Z, job changers, job seekers, millennials, first-time managers, and so on. So if we pick that kind of demographic, the region and the function, we can understand how these people learn. Do they learn over the weekends? Do they learn in the mornings? Do they like to learn in a mobile device? Do they like to learn hard skills? What are the exact topics that they're most interested in? So if I have this information, I can even design and adjust my strategy to better fit those groups. I can share with them content which is most popular for their category and therefore has much more potential to be consumed. The whole game here is to find information and analytics that can help you actually enable people to learn. And this is insights that can help us actually to identify exactly what audience group you are in and how we can better define learning. And the Course Explorer is where you can set and the learner characteristics and the course characteristics and get a report what are the most popular courses for that specific, again, group. What are the top trending courses, the most popular videos, the top trending videos. Again, this is another way we can actually find content to share with those groups and know that this content has the biggest percentage of being consumed. It's like digital marketing. It's like advertising. The more you hit on advertisements, the better the system understands what you're interested in, and then it shows you more of that, so it can convert you in the end of the day to a customer or a subscriber or whatever the goal is. That's it for today. So now we can have an open Q&A and ask me anything you'd like. Next slide, please. Sorry.
Thank you, Nikos, for the presentation. This is now it's on your Q&A. Your quote from Peter Sondergaard about information being the oil of the 21st century and analytics being the combustion engine for that. It's impressive.
Yes.
The investment that LinkedIn has done for several years in learning and development within companies as a strategic means for growth. I had the opportunity 1.5 years ago to see a very detailed presentation of the LinkedIn Learning Analytics back in the day when we used to go to be able to travel and go to conferences, and the kind of analytics that you're able to provide is impressive. In your from your point of view, when you are closing a contract with a company for for them to get their hands on LinkedIn Learning, how important are the analytics in as part of your offering? These kind of not just the courses and the rest and the connections, but the kind of data that they will be able to see.
Well, first of all, the first insecurity you face from the side of a company you're starting discussions is, am I going to have people actually using this platform when we buy it? So the big concern of any L&D team or HR team that is actually in the process of purchasing a platform like this is engagement. How will people be engaged? Will I have high ROE? And how I'm going to actually sell this internally and make people use it? So that is a big question and a big insecurity concern that those companies have. So the way we go for it is, first of all, before we reach to the analytics section, we start by building a pre-communication plan by getting multiple buy-ins from different stakeholders inside the company, managers, and then we decide on a launch date. We make events for that launch date, and we start from that point and on setting objectives and following through those objectives with the companies, whatever they want to achieve. Analytics, it's very important for them for different reasons. One is how we can increase engagement, which I showed you some analytic metrics or insights that they can actually understand better their workforce and therefore approach it better and therefore have better conversions and consuming of content. But they are also interested in being competitive. So if they want to stay ahead of competition, they need to learn more, and they need to learn more precise. Companies usually spend a lot of energy and resources to identify into which kind of direction they should spend their learning budget. And now with our insights, we can actually navigate them and tell them exactly where they should be focusing on. So we have the future trends of skills, which I showed you earlier, which can help them identify where they should be heading. We have other skills that can help them actually understand where they're lagging behind in terms of competition. So solving this competitive side of their demand is some parts of the insights, and some others is to actually improve their offering and their reach out so they can actually have better engagement.
Mm-hmm. It makes total sense, and it's obviously you work at a different level with a totally different scale of businesses, but even everyday trainees have to answer the same questions for themselves. Where is actual future demand for skills and jobs, and where they should be, what they should be doing, and what's the direction they should take with their careers. And also at a slightly middle level, I would say, lots of the people that are with us today are training either individual professionals, or in some cases they're selling licenses to companies for training. So to an extent, they have the same needs. They need to be able to convince the company why their courses are needed, what change they will bring into an organization, and also obviously from the basic stuff that the courses are being used and that there is engagement and there is some kind of contribution, and then to be able to also do the follow up and measure the ROI of this investment. No organization can survive without learning. We don't know what the future holds for all sorts of businesses. So the success of an organization is not determined by the things that you know, because you don't know anything about the future possibly, but how fast we learn. So it's impressive how LinkedIn Learning and their analytics help to solve this, to match this issue. And that brings me to a question here from the audience, from Adriana, whether there are any metrics that you could share for a successful course, like any benchmarks about completion or attrition, if there are any let's say industry benchmarks that could be useful for our audience.
So for now, we have built a star system inside LinkedIn. The people can actually vote on how they found the quality of a course. So that's the only way now to identify if a course is good quality or acceptance from the audience. So we have only this way to see that. But I think individual instructors have to focus on, first of all, are they passing their message? Are they, and the whole meeting of the day was for them to better understand how companies work, and therefore if they create something, it can better match a company needs. So in terms of metrics, I think in terms of production, I would just say that check out the analytics of the course, see if you have a decline in a specific moment in time, improve that moment. So, and just see the deviations of consumption and engagement with people when it comes to your courses. And I think that's what I can say in here.
Mm-hmm. And if I may ask, the entire planet, and especially the tech sector and the e-learning industry, have undergone a tremendous change, and I would say have been put in a catalysis mode where things change rapidly with the use of COVID. What was the experience from your end, from LinkedIn Learning, and from how companies consume e-learning? What have you seen in the past year?
So in the beginning of COVID, there was a big shakedown. So everybody was very, let's say, busy on like what is going on. Is this going to be a situation where it's going to take more than 6 months or a year? So in the first months of COVID, we see a little bit of a freezing of the market. But then they start realizing around, I think, beginning of summer or midsummer, that this situation is here to stay, and the world after the situation will be very, very different. So they were faced with a condition that everybody was working from home. They had troubles in getting the pulse of their employees and understanding how they are, what is their wellness, how they're going to engage with them. So they are moving, and I'm going to rephrase a phrase from Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, that said that 2 years of digital transformation happened in a period of 2 or 3 months. And that's so true, because companies realize that they have to move very quickly into digital, not only learning, but all other functions. But learning played a vital role in keeping connected with their employees, giving them a sense of investing in their development. So that's what we saw after the summer, and business is going great after the summer, because even the most skeptic companies and moving in online solutions when it comes to learning, now they are seeing it as a standard option for the way to move forward.
Mm-hmm. It's great what you say, and I'll just repeat something that I touched upon once we started today's webinar, that I cannot see a future. Hopefully, this will go away very, very soon, and we'll go back to our usual ways, partly at least, of doing business. But I cannot see a future where a business will take 200 employees within a hotel for 5 hours of PowerPoint. I think there will be a riot. Yeah. Yes, get to a hotel, have some kind of do a party, do a cocktail, whatever. But a training will not happen this way in the future. And if I may, a follow-up question here, because we understand about companies. Obviously, initially, everybody froze. We were trying to understand the magnitude of this and how COVID will react, whether it's going to be like a global thing and how it will react. So investments froze, and lots of people stayed put for the first few months. Within this year, what have you seen from the part of the trainees, of the actual learners, of the end users, in terms of their consumption of online courses, and the kind of are they more engaged? Are they less engaged? What is their consumption of online learning within LinkedIn and more broader in the industry?
I think it's definitely more engaging. Because people are staying home, they have limited choices right now. We've seen that different digital groups have arisen in the time and the people included. So everybody's in a Zoom meeting, doing from yoga, doing something else. So they're really investing in personal development and personal projects in general. So we've seen people moving from their training habits from a gym to inside the house. And the same goes for learning. So we've seen a very increasing engagement due to COVID and due to people being at home.